Have you ever felt like you're giving your all to someone or something, only to realize you're losing yourself in the process? It's a trap we've all fallen into. Loyalty can feel like love, but sometimes it's just a leash. Picture this: you're the friend who's always there. The one who texts first, who drops everything to help, who bends and twists to fit everyone else's needs. At first, it feels noble, like you're the glue holding it all together. But then, something shifts. You notice your own voice growing quieter, your dreams slipping through your fingers like sand. You're still there, still loyal, but you're starting to feel like a ghost in your own story. This is the quiet ache of overgiving, a universal ache that creeps in unnoticed. Maybe you felt it too, those moments when you say yes when you mean no, when you rearrange your life for someone else's comfort, telling yourself, this is what loyalty looks like. But deep down, there's a whisper, a flicker of doubt. Where did I go? In psychology, this tension has a name, or at least a shape. Carl Jung called it the persona, the mask we wear to face the world, to meet its expectations. Loyalty can tether us to that mask, turning it into a leash we didn't even know we were wearing. Over time, we lose touch with what Jung called the shadow, the raw, messy, hidden parts of ourselves we've buried to keep the peace. It's like being a dog at its owner's heels, praised for devotion, but confined to a shrinking world. You're free to move, but only so far, never far enough to feel the wind on your face. This isn't just a feeling, it's a pattern. Psychologists like Gabor Mate might point to codependency here, a state where your worth gets tangled up in how much you can give. You become the giver, the fixer, the loyal one, but at what cost? Your own needs fade, and that leash tightens. Here's the twist, though: true loyalty isn't about erasing yourself. It's not a one-way street paved with self-sacrifice. It's about mutual growth, a dance of give and take. So why do we keep choosing the leash? Are we afraid of being alone, or have we just forgotten what freedom feels like? In this video, we're diving deep into the psychology of loyalty and independence, unpacking how they shape us, how they break us, and how we can find balance. Because losing yourself isn't love. It's a call to wake up. What does it feel like to be the one who's always there? Picture this: you're the friend who never says no. The one who picks up the phone at 3 a.m., who cancels plans to fix someone else's mess, who wears loyalty like a badge of honor. In the beginning, it's a quiet pride, proof you're dependable, the rock in a stormy sea. But then the weight creeps in. Your voice dims, your desires blur, and one day you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror and wonder, who am I outside of what I give? This is the shadow side of loyalty, a tension Carl Jung might call the dance between the persona and the self. We wear the mask of the loyal friend, the devoted partner, the selfless giver, because it's what the world praises. Psychologically, loyalty is a double-edged sword, sharp with trust and connection, yet capable of cutting away pieces of our own identity. It's a paradox we've all brushed against, the warmth of belonging tangled with the slow bleed of codependency. Codependency isn't a buzzword, it's a quiet unraveling. It's when your worth gets knotted up in someone else's needs, when you become the archetype of the caregiver, nurturing, sacrificing, losing yourself in the role. Modern trauma theorist Gabor Mate might say it's a wound we carry from childhood, a subconscious pull to prove we're enough by giving too much. Have you ever felt it? That moment when loyalty stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like a leash? And yet, there's another force whispering beneath the surface: independence. Not the rugged individualism of isolation, but what Jung called individuation, the journey to wholeness, where you honor your own soul without abandoning others. It's the tightrope we walk every day, staying true to those we love while refusing to vanish into them. So why does this matter? Because finding balance between loyalty and independence isn't just a relationship skill, it's a psychological awakening. In this video, we're peeling back the layers of the psyche to explore how loyalty shapes us, how it breaks us, and how we can wield it without losing ourselves. This isn't about choosing sides, it's about discovering the harmony that transforms us. Because true loyalty, to others, to yourself, begins when you stop disappearing. Have you ever felt like you're carrying the weight of everyone else's world, just to keep them close? Meet Sarah. She's the friend who always says yes. The one who drops everything, her plans, her energy, her peace, to be there when someone calls. Picture her at 2 a.m., phone buzzing, bleary-eyed but still answering with a soft, "Of course I'm here." Or rushing across town for a favor she doesn't have time for, her own life a quiet afterthought. She's the loyal dog, tail wagging, ready to please, even when she's running on fumes. But something happens over time. That loyalty starts to hollow her out. Sarah feels invisible, like a shadow in her own story. She's there for everyone, but who's there for her? Resentment simmers beneath the surface, unspoken, unacknowledged, because saying no feels like risking it all. She's trapped, tethered to a leash of her own making, pulled by the fear that if she stops, she'll be left behind. This is anxious attachment at work, a concept rooted in the depths of our psyche. Psychologist John Bowlby, who pioneered attachment theory, would say Sarah's need to please isn't just habit, it's survival. Born from a childhood where love felt conditional or uncertain, she learned to chase approval, to prove her worth. The fear of abandonment hums beneath it all, whispering, "If I'm not useful, I'm not lovable." Over time, this erodes her sense of self, turning loyalty into a quiet cage. Does this echo in you? How often do you say yes when your soul screams no? It's a dance we've all done, stretching ourselves thin to feel secure. But here's the revelation, the gentle truth Carl Jung might point us toward. Authenticity, not sacrifice, is the root of real connection. When Sarah honors her own boundaries, she doesn't lose love, she invites it, raw and reciprocal. The loyal dog can rest, because true belonging doesn't demand her depletion. Have you ever stayed too long, too loyal to leave, even when every part of you screamed to go? Now picture Emily. She's been in a toxic relationship for years, not because she's naive, but because she feels obligated. To her, loyalty and love are the same thing, twisted together so tightly she can't see where one ends and the other begins. Her partner's charm pulls her in, but his words cut deep, gaslighting her reality, controlling her choices, leaving her questioning herself. Still, she stays, ignoring the emotional toll, the sleepless nights, the shrinking sense of who she used to be, until she hits a breaking point she didn't even know was coming. This is loyalty's dark side, where devotion becomes a trap. Psychologists call it trauma bonding, a cycle where the rare good moments, like fleeting sunlight in a storm, keep you hooked on the chaos. It's not just love, it's a survival mechanism, wired into us by intermittent rewards, the same way a gambler keeps pulling the lever. Emily tells herself, "If I'm loyal enough, he'll change." But the red flags pile up, and she buries them under excuses, convinced that leaving would mean failure. There's a deeper force here too. Think of Stanley Milgram's obedience experiments, people shocking others just because they were told to, even when it felt wrong. For Emily, the authority isn't a scientist, it's the relationship itself. Loyalty becomes a rule she can't break, a belief that abandoning it would make her disloyal, weak, unworthy. She's trapped not just by him, but by her own mind. And then there's the shadow, a term Carl Jung used for the parts of ourselves we hide. Emily's shadow holds her anger, her longing for freedom, but she drowns it out, pouring her energy into a dying bond. It's like watering a dead plant. Nothing grows, but she keeps going, terrified to let go. Until one day, that shadow breaks through, and she sees the truth. Loyalty isn't always noble. It can be a prison we build ourselves. The hardest part isn't walking away. It's realizing the door was never locked. Have you ever felt like you're living someone else's life, chasing dreams that aren't your own, just to keep the peace? Then there's Jake. He had it all. A corner office, a steady paycheck, and a title that made his parents beam with pride. But every morning, he'd stare at his reflection in the skyscraper window and wonder, is this it? His passion wasn't in spreadsheets or board meetings. It was in the quiet hours after work, surrounded by half-finished canvases in his tiny apartment studio. Art was where he felt alive, but he'd buried it beneath the weight of expectation. One day, Jake stood at the edge of a metaphorical cliff. Behind him, the safe, familiar path of corporate success. Ahead, the unknown abyss of his artistic dreams. The wind of doubt howled in his ears, his family's voices echoing, "Art? Really?" with eyebrows raised. But Jake wasn't living for their applause. He closed his eyes and jumped. The fall was brutal. 4 months, Jake painted in obscurity, his savings dwindling, his family's calls unanswered. Loneliness crept in, and self-doubt whispered, "You've made a terrible mistake." But every time he picked up a brush, a small voice inside said, "Keep going." This is self-differentiation, a concept from Murray Bowen's family systems theory. It's not rebellion or isolation, it's the quiet strength to honor your own growth, even when it means standing alone. Jake didn't cut ties with his family, he simply stopped letting their fears steer his life. Slowly, the view from the other side emerged. A gallery offered him a show. Fellow artists became his chosen family. And one day, his parents visited his exhibition, seeing not just his art, but the man he'd become, rooted like a tree that sways with the wind but never topples. Carl Jung might call this individuation, the journey to wholeness by embracing both his creative shadow and his capacity for independence. The lone wolf isn't always alone. Sometimes, he's just the first to find a new path. And in that courage, he lights the way for others to follow. What does it look like to love deeply without losing yourself? Imagine a couple where both partners are passionate about their individual pursuits, yet they find a way to nurture each other's growth without sacrificing their own. That's Alex and Jamie. Alex is an aspiring musician, spending late nights in the studio, crafting melodies that echo his soul. Jamie, meanwhile, is dedicated to her career in environmental science, often traveling to remote forests or windswept coastlines for fieldwork. Despite their busy lives, they make time for each other, not out of duty, but from a quiet, genuine desire to connect. When Alex plays a gig, Jamie's there in the front row, her applause a steady heartbeat of support. And when Jamie presents her research at a conference, Alex is her loudest cheerleader, even if the scientific terms sail over his head. But their story runs deeper than mutual cheerleading. They have their own friends, their own hobbies, their own dreams. Alex doesn't flinch when Jamie heads off on a solo hiking trip, breathing in the wild air she craves. Jamie doesn't mind when Alex spends a weekend lost in art galleries, sketching ideas for his next song. They set boundaries with care and talk openly when something feels off. This isn't just love, it's emotional intelligence at work. They're self-aware enough to know what they need, and empathetic enough to honor each other's inner worlds. Picture 2 trees growing side by side, each rooted in its own soil, stretching toward its own patch of sky, yet sharing the same golden sunlight. That's Alex and Jamie. They've learned that love doesn't mean merging into one. It means giving each other space to grow, letting their roots dig deep and wide, while their branches intertwine in a dance of mutual respect. In the language of Carl Jung, this is individuation, the journey to become whole, to uncover your truest self. Alex and Jamie are walking their own paths, yet they choose to walk together, enriching each other without eclipsing who they are. This isn't the suffocating grip of codependence or the blurred edges of enmeshment. It's interdependence, a connection that holds strong because it doesn't demand everything. Their story whispers a truth. Real loyalty isn't about clinging out of fear or obligation. It's about showing up, day after day, while still tending to your own soul. It's a delicate balance, a quiet harmony, and when it works, it creates a bond that's both anchored and free. Alex and Jamie show us that the best relationships let you say, "I am fully myself, and I choose you." Have you ever felt torn between staying loyal to someone and staying true to yourself? It's like standing at a crossroads, one path leading to the comfort of connection, the other to the uncertainty of self-discovery. This tension is at the heart of our relationships, and it's where the real journey begins. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, called this journey individuation, a lifelong process of uncovering who you truly are beyond the roles and expectations others place on you. It's not about cutting ties or clinging tight, it's about finding wholeness in yourself first. Think of it like a tree growing in a forest. Each tree needs its own space to grow, but they also share the same soil and sunlight. In the same way, we need to honor our own growth while respecting the journeys of those around us. Take Sarah, for example. She spent years in a relationship that drained her, believing that loyalty meant staying no matter what. But over time, she realized that her loyalty to her partner was overshadowing her loyalty to herself. Through therapy, she began to explore her own values and desires, slowly untangling her sense of self from the relationship. It wasn't easy, there were moments of doubt and fear, but eventually she found a balance. She learned to set boundaries, to say no when needed, and to choose her own path without abandoning her capacity for love. This is the perspective shift. Healthy relationships aren't about needing each other to survive, they're about choosing each other, fully and freely, because you both bring something unique to the table. It's not blind loyalty or fierce independence. It's the wisdom to know when to hold on and when to let go. True power lies not in clinging to others or pushing them away, but in the quiet wisdom of knowing when to hold on and when to let go. It's about being loyal to your own soul while honoring the paths of those you love. As we draw this journey to a close, let's linger for a moment in the quiet space between two truths: loyalty and independence. Have you ever noticed how they pull at you, like threads woven into the fabric of your being? They're not enemies, not opposites locked in some endless battle. No, they're two sides of the same coin, each gleaming with its own light, each whispering something essential about who you are. The challenge, the art, isn't in choosing one over the other. It's in finding the harmony, the delicate balance where you can stay true to yourself while building bridges to those who matter. Picture loyalty as a steadfast companion, a warm presence that roots you in connection. It's the part of you that shows up, that holds space, that says, "I'm here and I'll stay." Now imagine independence as a wild, untamed spirit, a wind that carries you toward your own horizon. It's the voice that insists, "I am enough and I will grow." Neither can thrive alone. Too much loyalty, and you risk fading into someone else's shadow. Too much independence, and you might find yourself standing on an island of your own making. Together, though, they form a dance, a rhythm that Carl Jung might recognize as individuation, the slow, sacred process of becoming whole. So, where do you land? Are you more of a loyal dog, tail wagging, ready to guard the ones you love, even when it costs you? Or a lone wolf, prowling the edges of the world, fiercely guarding your freedom? There's no right answer, only your answer. Reflect on it. When has loyalty wrapped you in warmth, and when has it tethered you too tightly? When has independence set you free, and when has it left you aching for connection? The beauty lies not in picking a side, but in weaving both into your story. This balance isn't a finish line, it's a living question. How can you honor the part of you that loves fiercely and the part that stands alone? As you sit with that, know this: the journey to harmony is a practice, a step toward a life that's both tethered and unbound. What will your next step be? What happens when a story ends, but the echoes linger? If this journey through the tangled dance of loyalty and independence stirred something in you, perhaps a memory, a question, or a quiet ache, then you're already part of the unfolding. Carl Jung once wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." That's what this space is about, transformation through connection. So, if these words hit home, press that like button. It's more than a click, it's a signal to the universe that this matters. And if you're new here, subscribe. We dive into the psyche's depths every week, peeling back the layers of what makes us human. But the real alchemy begins with you. Have you ever stood at the crossroads of loyalty and independence? Maybe you felt the weight of devotion pulling against the whisper of your own voice, like a shadow and its source straining to part. Or perhaps you've woven them together, a tapestry of self and other. Drop your story in the comments below. These aren't just words on a screen, they're threads of the collective unconscious, Jung's vast web where we all meet. Your experience might mirror someone else's unspoken struggle, offering them a lantern in the dark. This isn't a monologue, it's a dialogue, a living tapestry fueled by your voice. Your reflections, your questions, they're the lifeblood of this community. They shape what we explore next, like ripples spreading across a still pond. Share a moment that tested your balance, ask something that gnaws at you, or suggest a corner of the psyche we should wander into together. This is how we grow, not in isolation, but in the shared act of becoming. And if you feel called to deepen this connection, join our discussion group on Platform or follow us on social media for daily musings and glimpses behind the curtain. If you know someone wrestling with these same tensions, share this video. Let's widen the circle. You're here, and that's no accident. The psyche draws us where we need to be. As we've seen today, loyalty and independence aren't opposites but partners in a delicate waltz, each step revealing more of who we are. Your presence, your story, it's what keeps this dance alive. Let's move forward together.